morning, everybody. Keith Engle here for TGI Sports Talk Sunday, stream of consciousness. How is everybody doing today? It's Championship Sunday in the NFL, and we got a lot to talk about. And we want to talk about your topics as well. So bring those topics. You guys have been doing a great job on this show, day in and or Sunday in and Sunday out. Of this, and that's what I want this show to be: is stream of consciousness, covering your topics, your comments. I'll respond. We'll keep that conversation going, and we'll be all over the board. I think it's worked all right. I've tried to get away from the more structured and let it rip. We can jump from topic to topic. That's what this show is meant to be, and I kind of got away from it a little bit. Welcome everybody watching on TGI Sports Talk today on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and the Roku channel, the NS Northeast Streaming Sports Roku channel this morning live. If you're watching there, welcome. You can't comment unless you go to Facebook or YouTube, but welcome. Everybody on Let's Talk Sports on their YouTube platform. I'm having trouble this morning, man. Northeast Streaming Sports, of course, as I mentioned, also Facebook, YouTube, and that Roku channel. So welcome, everybody. DDH, thumbs up to you, buddy. And also a quick shout out to Ralph Williams over there at RW Media. Specifically the Sports Corner with Smoking Jim Frazier. It's on WBVP, 1230 AM, 99.3 FM, every Tuesday at 5 p.m. We'll get on with Ralph at some point. We'll have to get Ralph on the show as well. He's been popping in the Friday show, and once in a while he's here on a Sunday as well. We want to get your comments today. I want to talk about a couple of things. The NFL, obviously, we've got to talk about the championship games. We want to talk about Jim Harbaugh's hiring in San Diego. Bill Belichick, is he done? And I will tell you off the top, these are just some things to work with. You guys can bring up whatever you want. Belichick doesn't get a job this year, which it looks like he won't. Next year, the first time the Giants lose, he'll be all over the back page of the New York Post as a replacement for Brian Daboll. Fair or not fair? We'll talk about the last two openings. Andy Reid, speaking of coaches, rumors around Kansas City that this could be his last game if they were to lose. He could walk away, and we'd have another opening. I do not think that opening helps Belichick. We got some coaches moving around. Kellen Moore reportedly going to the Eagles to be their new OC. The Patriots hire a defensive coordinator. Of course, we want to talk about the games. Maybe, Josh, who's getting it worse? And is it fair? The Josh Allen and the Josh Allen detractors in Buffalo, or the Dak Prescott, detractors in Dallas. I mean, they don't play defense, guys. We'll see if I stick up for them hard or not. It's getting harder. I know I defended Dallas, and more Dallas than Dak. I take responsibility for it. I don't think Dak really is the problem. Baseball, we can talk about the Hall of Fame vote some more. I know Drew, if he's with us this morning, definitely disagrees with my Billy Wagner take. We can talk more about that. Is the Hall of Fame watered down? Yes. I talked about this on the Major League Baseball update on Friday, but a lot of you guys didn't get a chance to comment on that. Yankees lose out on more relief pitchers, or another big relief pitcher. We're weeks away from pitchers and catchers, so we're getting close. The Knicks playing great basketball since Anobi comes to town. I think they might be 12-2 now since he arrived, but a big loss yesterday in Julius Randle separating his shoulder. Could be out for the season if he needs surgery. So this could be a big turnaround. And we'll also talk about the Milwaukee situation. The players, the guy the players wanted hired, now they get fired. Now, I know they weren't playing great defense, but they're 30-13. They fired their coach. And then also on top of that, the coach they hired, Doc Rivers, ABC/ESPN, I hope they are happy with what they got, because they got rid of Jeff Van Gundy and Mark Jackson, mostly because they wouldn't assure them that they wouldn't seek out head coaching jobs. Those two, and by the way, and a lot of times, the only reason to tune into NBA games on ABC in my mind was listening to Mike Breen, Mark Jackson, and Jeff Van Gundy. Now they got, and I feel bad for Mike Breen. He's stuck with no disrespect to Doris Burke, but I'd much rather listen to Van Gundy and Mark Jackson. So lots of fodder to talk about today. Let's see who's with us and go from there. Dave Guyette, good morning. Syracuse with a nice win yesterday over North Carolina State. And also on a Syracuse note with Dave popping up, congratulations to Dino Babers, former Syracuse head coach, football coach. He gets the offensive coordinator position at Arizona. So congrats to him. CA, good morning. How are you today? Blessed Sunday to you as well. And he gives the thumbs up to DDH as well. Dan Harris, our good friend, who we hope is enjoying this championship Sunday, wherever he is. And hopefully it's in a good place. I'm sure it is. One of the best people I've met doing this. Good morning to JB. How are you this morning? From the Back It Up Binge podcast. Check out his content as well. Rick Sherlock, good morning. To honor Dan, you need to get back into interviewing when time allows. Unfortunately, right now, Rick, time doesn't allow because work's got me traveling. As I should be winding down, as I should be winding down at this point in my life, I seem to be winding up. So anyway, I don't see it in the foreseeable future, but who knows? I mean, my moods change and we may go that direction. I've been considering a few changes and we'll see what happens. But I appreciate you wanting that. Tennis. Listen, JB, if you got a tennis topic to bring up, I'll be happy to talk about it. One thing that's bothered me is it's a many years old story, though, and it also involves ESPN, the Nazi news network over there, sports news network. Ralph Williams is here. As I mentioned, Ralph Williams from RW Media. I mentioned at the top the Sports Corner with him and Smoking Jim Frazier. You can catch over there on WBVP, 1230 AM and 99.3 FM every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Plus, he's got tons of other great content. Ralph does some good stuff, even outside of the realm of sports. So he's out of Pittsburgh, and you get a lot of Steeler news and a lot of news about sports in general and other topics as well. Welcome, Ralph. Always good to have you with us. Kenny Gifford, good morning up on the mountain. Getting snow yet, are you? We have not seen any yet here. I think you guys are looking at maybe 4 to 8 up there. Well, you might be looking at more in the higher elevations. We're looking at only 2 to 4, I think, here. Higher elevations surrounding us and below us are looking at 4 to 8, some a little bit more. Anthony Price, good morning. How are you today? Yeah, he retired. I need the insurance for now. I don't want to pay for insurance just yet. I mean, in the year I'm eligible for Medicare, we'll go there. Well, then we'll consider it. We'll see what the plan is here. It is good to hear about Dino Babers, and no problem with me mentioning you, Ralph. You're doing some good stuff over there. Hope we get together here soon. Good to hear about Dino Babers. Yeah, Dino's a good man, and look it's tough, man. The deck is stacked against you in Syracuse in football these days. At one time, they were a pretty good brand, but they aren't anymore. And moving to the ACC has hurt them. In basketball and football, and not a good move for them. Good morning, Drew. Good to have you with us. I did mention you at the top, Drew, and if we want to talk, we're going to be talking a lot of football, obviously, today. As I want to get into the head coaches situation, the Belichick situation, the Harbaugh situation, Andy Reid rumors. We'll talk about the games as well, but we can talk the Hall of Fame a little bit more. The Hall of Fame voting, as we know, happened this past Tuesday, I want to say. No problem with Adrian Beltre. Should be a first ballot Hall of Famer. Joe Mauer, I have no problem with. Not a big Todd Helton fan. I think the Coors Field factor plays a big factor in his numbers, obviously. And the Billy Wagner debate, he'll get in next year. But I'm still, I know Drew wants to compare him with a lot of other guys, and the numbers he brings up are relevant. I mean, my argument isn't a stiff one against Billy Wagner. If I'm going to let Hoffman and Rivera in, then I've got to consider Billy Wagner. But I keep bringing up the Cy Young, and Drew keeps bringing up relievers only win Cy Youngs now and again, which is right. But I was talking, and I talked Friday a lot about not just winning the Cy Young, being considered for it. I believe he only had 2 votes. 2 times he received votes for the Cy Young. And I guarantee you, if we look at Hoffman, I look at Rivera, and I look at, he probably compares better with Lee Smith in that regard than he does. I'd have to look at the numbers than he does Hoffman and Rivera. And again, I have a problem with relief pitchers compared to Gossage and Fingers and Lyle, and Lyle's not in the Hall of Fame. But, the way they use them today, they're such prima donnas. Do not bring me in. And again, it's not just them. It's the way baseball's evolved. Don't bring me in until the 9th inning with nobody on base. You could get 20 saves, Drew, just like that as well with a 3-run lead. Topic, my heavens, a major has been going on. Love the carrot. Oh, CA, your riddles are killing me. A major, I guess, is going on in darts, I'm assuming. Love the carrot. What is the carrot? Man, you're the best. The Swift situation. Oh, my God. Yes, I guess we can talk about Taylor. There's a couple of things here, and the Taylor Swift situation has certainly played into it. The Kansas City Chiefs, in my mind, have become the Patriots in people's eyes because they win every year. People try to count them out every year. Soon as things start to go wrong and they struggle for a few weeks, this year they had a few bad weeks. They didn't win as many games. Mahomes' numbers are down because Tyreek Hill's gone and guys are getting used to he's getting used to the offense and whatnot. All he does is win playoff games, though. 6 years in a row, I want to say, in the championship game. I hope that number's right. But I think playing into that hate now, maybe hate's too strong a word, but I do think the Chiefs are in that regard. The maps come out, the playoffs, who's rooting for who, right? And the whole country's rooting for the Ravens. And there's one little piece of Kansas City's rooting for, Missouri is rooting for Kansas City, similar to what you always saw when the Patriots were in there. Again, not unusual, but I think the Taylor Swift situation has played into it, to Kenny's point. All we hear during broadcasts, and the talk about it has stopped a little bit during games. But I don't need a shot of Taylor Swift every time Kelsey gets a first down, much less a touchdown. God, Jesus. Who really cares? And again, I know that Kenny and had brought up the other day that Swift has brought in 13. I don't know where these numbers come from. I'd love to see the source because I don't know how you can really. Merchandise is the only factor that I can see. $13 million. Again, to be honest with you, it's a nice chunk of money. I'm not saying it isn't, but when you're talking about $1 billion a year, multi-billion dollar a year industry, it's a drop in the bucket. But I can't see where she's not increasing. And if she does increase TV audience, which she probably is, because casual fans as Swifties who know nothing about football are tuning in, it doesn't change the fact that the TV contract is already locked in. Advertising rates are already locked in. So she doesn't have any real effect there where the real money would come in. Merchandise is the only thing that I can see. And I'm tired of it. Nobody cares about Taylor Swift except Swifties. Do football fans, is there one football fan that you've ever seen who said, boy, I can't wait till they show shots of Taylor Swift today every time Travis Kelce gets a first down? Yikes. Rado, good morning, Rado. Hey, listen, my ballot had A-Rod on it, unfortunately, because I can't leave them off because my argument is, and we go back to the Swift comments too. We're gonna stream of consciousness it again today because it's really gone well. A-Rod was on my ballot, as was Manny Ramirez, and as was Gary Sheffield, and Clemens and Bonds would be on my ballot as well. I don't know who did steroids and who didn't. A-Rod's a little bit different situation as he's gone scorched earth on MLB, but still, the numbers are there, and you have to put him in and tell the whole story. Same thing with Pete Rose. I've said this forever. Put him in the Hall of Fame. You can't have a Hall of Fame without the best players, especially when you're putting in guys like Harold Baines and Fred McGriff and guys that are, I can't even call them, listen, I don't mean disrespect to these guys, but they're not even borderline Hall of Famers in my mind. Hall of good. I want to say the Hall of very good, man. But A-Rod's on my ballot. I don't like it. I hold my nose just like I do during presidential elections, or any election for that matter. Pretty much. I hold my nose and pull the lever. Sheffield would have been on my ballot. A-Rod would have been my ballot. Tell the whole story, though. Put on their plaque. Suspended for using steroids. Suspended for gambling. Suspended for life for gambling in Pete Rose's case. And you can't, Shoeless Joe Jackson, the same freaking thing, man. Get me going. Carrot, Major, Australian Open, Jack Sinner. Congratulations if that's the winner. Australian Open. Oh, I get it. I did see something from the Australian Open that, God, what's the, who's the top player there? Djokovic? No, is that Djokovic? Is that how you say his name? He was getting heckled, over his, again, political views, or I think it's political views, creep into sports with people heckling about his vaccination status and whatnot. Leave it at home. What did I skip Ralph? I think I skipped Ralph. Sorry about that. I'm right about KC. Yeah, they've become, well, what's the hate, by the way? This has always been my problem. We build people up and we love them on the way up. They're darlings, the Lions. Let's just say the Lions, for instance, were to win the Super Bowl this year and start dominating the way Kansas City has the last half decade or so, the way that the New England did for 2 decades. They'll start to hate them too, because that's what we do in this country is we build people up. So when we get them to the top, we can look to knock them down and we can hate on them. There's nothing to hate about Kansas City. What's the hate about Patrick Mahomes? I mean, other than the Taylor Swift and Kelsey thing. But what's the hate about this team as a football team? Same thing with the Patriots. There was nothing to hate except the fact that they were better than your team. Get better. Anthony, what do you got here, buddy? You think that Patrick and Kelsey last rode together this season? I don't know. There's been a lot of talk about Kelsey. I've talked about Andy Reid potentially walking away after this game. Bleacher Report reported that last week. I haven't seen it gain a lot of traction, but the rumors are still out there. And there's rumors about Kelsey retiring. I don't think he's retiring. I think you've seen, I think, since the playoffs started. I mean, he didn't have a great season for Kelsey, but again, with the other weapons downgraded a bit, they were able to take Kelsey away. And I've said for years, it's Kelsey that makes that offense go, not Tyreek Hill. But when the weapons are downgraded as much as they are now, and those kids are starting to play better. Rice is playing better. Hardman hasn't really done much, and Tony's out. There's still some problems at that wide receiver position, but they can take Kelsey out of the game. But he's stepped up a lot here in the playoffs, and I think he's got a lot left. And I think that I think Kelsey comes back. Maybe if they win and they win back-to-back Super Bowls, maybe Reed leaves and Kelsey leaves. I don't know. But I don't know. I wouldn't walk away on top. I would the money that's out there. And if he does walk away, we don't have to see Taylor Swift anymore. That would be a plus. Megan Herder looked good for you, Albany, for basketball. Women's basketball. Let me look her up here real quick, Rick. You got me. I know the name because I hear it on the local news a lot, but I don't know what the Albany women are doing. Let's see. I don't want to spend too much time looking this up, but hope you spelled it right. Perth graduate, you. No, all I get is freelance. Let me try all you, Albany. I don't think that's who you're talking about. Oh, man, I can't get anything going here. Well, I'm not getting anything for Megan Herder. Oh, there she is. Megan Herder. Megan Herder. You spelled it wrong. That's Kevin Herder's sister. Yes. I'm sorry. I totally lost track of what I was talking about. Yes, she does look good for you, Albany. And who knows? She's transferred into you, Albany, I believe, this year. And she may transfer back out. But we'll see. But she is playing good basketball for the Lady Danes, as it were. Ralph says, will you? Taylor Swift, I do not care. But now you have a new audience of people watching the NFL because of Taylor Swift. Yes, that's true, Ralph. But as soon as Taylor Swift is gone, which, again, if Kelsey retires, could be as soon as next year, they're not watching any games but the Kansas City games. Do we really think that people are tuning into the NFL outside of Kansas City games because of Taylor Swift? Now, again, this league is about making money, as Kenny's pointed out many times. All leagues are. It's all about the money. So the league doesn't care about this. That's why they're I'm sure that the league has said to CBS or Fox or ESPN, whoever it is, broadcasting the Kansas City games, let's make sure we show Taylor Swift in that sweet Kansas City jacket she wears so we can sell it. I just care about the football, man. Can we get to the football? Dave Guyette says he's surprised Taylor Swift isn't the halftime show. I'm glad she's not. Well, she probably wants too much money, although I think they do this for free, to be honest with you. I don't believe they get paid. Maybe that's why she won't do it. I don't even know who's doing it this year. I know that Reba's doing the national anthem. We talked about this last week. Reba's doing the national anthem. Post Malone is doing God Bless America, which seems like an odd fit, but I don't know enough about Post Malone, I guess, to know. The halftime show, I don't know who it is, quite frankly. Can't remember. Chris. Flat out incredible nationwide support for Detroit. Good to see. Well, not nationwide, Chris, because I'm betting San Francisco today. But again, that map I talked about, Detroit, again, whether these things are put together with any kind of scientific information, I have no idea. But, the routing map shows Detroit everywhere but, Northern California. But listen, the Lions are a great story. A great story. I agree, Chris, is a great story. Me, I like to root for good stories. I really do. But when I bet a game, I have to root against that good story. I just don't think the Lions are going to be able to hit the 49ers. 49ers firing on all cylinders. I think the 49ers are a 10-point winner today. I think the Lions aren't going to get blown out. This is a good team. And I'm not a big Jared Goff fan. I have this feeling Jared Goff will become Jared Goff in a big moment. These guys tend to do that. I remember years ago, the first time I said this, in 94 or 5, Cowboys in Pittsburgh in a Super Bowl. Neil O'Donnell had a good run. And I said to my Steeler fans, I'm not really concerned because at some point, Neil O'Donnell remembered that he's Neil O'Donnell. Goff's had a good year, but man, he's caught the ball up a lot. This is an opportunistic 49er defense. And if their weapons are all healthy, I don't think the Lions have enough to stay with them. But they're a great story. Dan Campbell's done a great job. Should be coach of the year. Very little doubt he's the coach of the year. You got 2 guys in the running for rookie of the year, Gibbs and Laporta, great players. St. Brown on the outside. You got some great weapons. Hutchinson on defense. The defense has played better. They're still not great, but they played better this year than they did last year, and they had an incredible year. I said had, like it's over. But my money's going to be on the 49ers today. But you're absolutely right, Chris. Great year for Detroit. You have seen her for a total of 24 seconds during the season and less than the playoffs. It's not a total of 24 seconds, but I get your point. One time's too much for me. Why do I need to see her? Show me the owner. Show me anybody. Why Taylor Swift? What does it have to do with the football game? Taylor Swift. What? I don't need to see her at all, Kenny. That's my point. And again, we get into this, and I don't know. Your wife's probably mad at me. I don't know, but I don't need to see her. She's not relevant to what's going on in the field. Even the owners and showing the owner's box is relevant to the football team. And if anything, I would argue she's hurt Travis Kelce's performance this year because of the attention. Age might be it, but something's brought his performance down. I don't hate Taylor Swift. I couldn't tell you enough about her to hate her. I just don't want to see her. I don't need to see her. I'm a football fan. And again, those people who are watching Kansas City for Taylor Swift shots are not watching anything else. Good morning, kneecap biting with the Motor City Lions. A lot of Lions fans this morning. My prediction here probably didn't go over well with them. I'm sorry. 34-24. Think. But good morning to you. I don't have a first name for kneecap. I don't think. I probably asked you in the past, and if I did, I apologize. Feel free to put it up there. Feel free. Listen, your Lions are a great story. Pump them up. I want you to root for your team. Doesn't matter what I think. This team could win today. They have the capability of winning this game today. I just happen to think, my money happens to think the 49ers will win. Ralph is tired of Taylor Swift. One thing I'm frustrated with is Andy Reid should have got rid of the Taylor Swift distraction. I don't know how he can do it. Ralph, what's he going to do? Can't ban her from the stadium. He can't tell the networks what to do because the league is likely telling the networks what to do. Andy Reid can't control that. One thing he could do is say, like on our bye week, Travis, I'd rather you didn't fly to Rio. That he can control. I wouldn't want one of my best players on my bye week when I need him resting to get ready for the rest of the season and the stretch run, going to Rio for a week. It's just me. And maybe it doesn't matter, but, maybe I'm making too much of this. I don't know. But I don't think Andy Reid has any way he can do anything about it. Thank you, Ralph. I rarely get somebody to agree with me on this. Well, I shouldn't say rarely, but more people will tell me I'm nuts than not, as a rule, when I say Pete Rose belongs in the Hall of Fame. You can't have a Hall of Fame without Pete Rose. And again, put on his plaque the good things he did and the bad things he did. Banned for life for gambling on baseball and his team. Including his team, whatever you want to say. Flock can say whatever you want. Kenny had a good point. Maybe we put a whole little room there off the main hall. And if you've been there, I hope you've been there, Ralph, because if you're a baseball fan and you haven't been to Cooperstown, you need to find a way to get there. It's just a wonderful experience. And you walk into that hall with all the plaques, and maybe we put a little closet in the back there with all the Hall of Shamers. But what am I going to do? And again, Pete Rose is a little bit different than the steroid guys. The steroid guys, I don't know who was doing it and who wasn't. So either don't vote for any of them. David Ortiz, Jeff Bagwell, or don't vote for any of them or vote for all of them. She's made a huge impact in young people in football. Oh, my God. I know you say no impact, but if viewers are up, it doesn't mean more money. It doesn't. The viewership, it will mean potentially money down the road, but right now it means nothing. It means money in merchandise. If the Kansas City-Baltimore game today. Now, as far as I know, the advertising dollars for this game would have been set months ago, if not longer. The Super Bowl rates are already set. So more viewers. It doesn't matter if there's 100 million, which is a crazy number. 100 more million people watch this game. It has no financial impact unless they go out and buy merchandise. Today, later on, maybe we can say, well, ratings went up. But if I'm a TV network, I say, well, Taylor Swift is what prompted that boost, and Travis Kelce's retired, so we're not increasing the money we're paying you guys to broadcast games. I just don't buy it. I don't buy it. I know, Kenny, you had a number of $13 million, $13.7 million or something last week. Just give me a link. I want to know where that came from and what that $13 million is. Because they're not getting any more money out of TV right now because she's at these games and we brought in more viewers. It's just, Speaking of the Kelce bros, they were talking about darts on their podcast. No, by the way, Travis and Jason have a great podcast. They really do. And Jason is a character, man. If you saw him, I'd rather see Jason Kelce with his shirt off than Taylor Swift with her Kansas City jacket on. Maybe I should have gone down that road, but oh God, comes the Lions fans at me. All the Hall of Famers are Hall of not sucking. Well, that's a good point. Yeah, it's you know what I feel like, Kneecap, since I don't have a name. If I do, I apologize. Major League Baseball feels like it's kind of going the way of the NFL with the Hall of Fame. And it's still not there because you still got to get 75% of the votes to get in. And they have had years where nobody got in. But we've got the Veterans Committee or whatever we're calling it now, the Modern Era Committee, whatever we call it. We change the name of this committee every 3 years. They kind of ensure that somebody's going to get in every year. This year it was Jim Leland off of that vote. But the NFL, I mean, they have between 5 and 11 guys can get whatever the freaking thing is, 5 and 9. I don't know what the number is, but they got a minimum number and a maximum number they can get every year. You got to put 5 guys in. Let's say that's the number. That's stupid. What if there isn't 5 guys that are deserving? We're going to put them in anyway. And then you have Hall of Fame of not sucking, to Kneecap's point here. That's what's wrong. The Hall of Fame should be for the absolute best of the best. The Babe Ruths, the Mickey Mantles, guys who made real impacts on the game. Now, that could be a contributor, it could be a manager, definitely. It could be a guy whose numbers aren't there, but leadership was. But, what's Fred Impact's real impact on the game? What's Harold Bain's real impact on the game? What's Todd Helton's real impact on the game? Dave, this is an interesting dilemma for me. If I go by my argument to date, Billy Martin and Thurman may not belong in there. Thurman did have a lot to do with turning the Yankees around after a decade decade plus of futility. His career was too short, though. That's the problem with Thurman, and I just don't think. And he was on the downhill side of his career when he died, too. As much as I want to say Thurman belongs, and he does belong. If some of these other guys belong, he belongs. But if I'm going to stick to my argument that I can't say that, Billy turned around what? Turned around the Twins, turned around the Tigers, turned around the Rangers. They didn't win anything, but he turned that franchise around. Turned around the Yankees with some help. Turned around the A's. That's still only one world championship for Billy, which hurts him. So probably not. If I'm going to be true to my argument, Dave, probably not. Based on what we've seen, Jim Leland gets in with one World Series championship. Billy Martin belongs in. If we're going by the criteria they're using, both these guys deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. If we're going to make it stricter, neither belongs. Kenny, speaking of Ralph, you were right. Rose should have been in the Hall for a long time. Don't care. I do care that he gambled on the games. That's not my point. He did hurt it. Yes. There are players in that did a lot worse towards the game. I don't disagree. I've got to have Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame for what he did as a player. I'm not arguing that I don't care that he gambled. I care a lot that he gambled on games. The argument that he didn't hurt anyone is wrong, Kenny. It's the same problem that, and again, I'm saying this with the thought that I think he belongs in the Hall of Fame, warts and all. But the warts are there. He did hurt the game by gambling on it. Pete Rose's defense was always, well, I never bet against them. But he bet the Reds enough to be able to extrapolate that out, that when he didn't bet the game, he bet against his team. You can't tell me that when he didn't have money on a game, or maybe a game was out of control, he didn't make moves that might have impacted the next game. So again, he did impact people. He hurt his players, he hurt the fans, and he hurt the game. But that doesn't change my opinion that he belongs in the Hall of Fame. I'm not going to defend what he did. I'm going to put it on his plaque, loud and clear. Bet on baseball, including Reds games. Banned for life. Kelsey regular season numbers were flatter than his girlfriend. Kneecap. Oh, that's not cool. Are you telling me Jason might have a better upper torso than Taylor? Oh my God. That's funny though. He didn't have great regular season numbers for Travis Kelce. Part of that could have been age. Definitely part of that was teams were able to take him away better than they did before. But he has stepped it up in the playoffs, so nobody can deny that. And he's still an impact player, and I think he'll be back. Which, unless he breaks up with Taylor, which we don't see happening, because the rumors are an engagement's on the way. It's a funny line, though, Kneecap. Human nature. Many people love underdogs. Drew, this is Drew. If you can't read his name, I'll say it. Many people love underdogs as they feel they can relate and need to believe. Others are late bandwagon jumpers because they need to be viewed as winners. Boy, I've seen a lot of those over the last, from 2000. I'm talking to you, fake Patriot fans. Where were you in the 80s when I was sitting there freezing my ass off and watching a one-win team? Don't remember seeing you. This is where true regional team fans provide unequivocal support, good or bad. Now you know why I pick the Patriots every week. Good or bad. Because it is true, unequivocal support. Thank you, Drew. You've just shown that you do understand, even though you bash me for it, why I pick my team week after week, regardless whether they're going to win or not. Yes, German-Italian Yannick Sinner has a nickname like many dart pros. Lads and ladies, for the first time in North American PDC, and the CDC of dart season is opening on betting sites. I'm going to need your help then, CA. I can't bet on darts, so I don't know who the hell the players are. Kevin Myers, welcome today. How are you, Kevin? I think we've seen you in a little while. I think Belichick. No, I don't see where Belichick's a good fit for the Chiefs. If he's probably a better fit than the Seahawks or the Commanders. He's team formerly known as the Redskins. Sorry. Probably a better fit at the Chiefs. I just don't think they're going to follow Andy Reid with. I think they want some continuity there. I don't know where they'd go. I mean, it can't be Nagy, that's for sure. Maybe they bring Eric Bieniemy back if he doesn't get the Commander's job. Sorry, team formerly known as the Redskins. I just don't get the feel that the Chiefs. I don't get the feel that there's a lot of teams in love with Belichick. I think the Giants would be, and the papers would be, and the press would be more enamored maybe than the fans. I don't know. Coming back to New York. This year, though, it looks like he won't coach. We'll see if something happens. I mean, the only thing that can happen from here, since McCarthy's staying, San Diego's filled, obviously. None of the current coaches except Andy Reid are potentially not going to be back. So I don't see Belichick being a good fit there. I think he might be interested. I don't think they're going to do that. Be interesting to see. Be a good place for him to go to get the win record, that's for sure. Usher is the halftime entertainment this year at the Super Bowl. Thank you, Rick. I knew Rick would know this. Rick is up on pop culture, pop music of the day. Actually, Usher, I don't know, is of the day. Maybe he is. I do go to Rick Sherlock for all my popular music. I don't know what we even call it today because I don't follow it. Kids are. That's why they're promoting the relationship. Kids are. I'm not denying people are watching, but it's, as we say in my business, is it sticky? No, I doubt it. Those fans aren't going to stay. They're not going to invest long term. So there's going to be a quick buck to be made somewhere in merchandise, as we talked about. But is there long-term money by Taylor Swift bringing interest into the NFL? No, because as soon as Taylor Swift is gone, so is that interest. They're not going to care. And then if they do care, my game's going to get ruined worse because they're probably not going to want people hitting people so hard. Why are they hitting him so hard? Oh, God. That's just, I just pissed a bunch of people off. Anthony Price is right. There you go. My pop culture icon, or I should say liaison. Rick Sherlock beat you to the punch there, Anthony. Thank you, though. You watch Janet Jackson's boob again. Not now. Jesus, I don't want to see Janet Jackson's boob now. I'm going to make a lot of people mad today. Oh, excuse me. Oh, Kenny, don't make me laugh. Speaking of making people mad, there's a mad New Yorker. Good morning, Carlos. How are you? She turned it down. Now Jay-Z doesn't run who performs. Please stop. I don't know. She's probably turned it down in the past. I doubt the NFL hasn't approached her. And probably the problem is I don't know. They don't get paid. So look at this. All the old guys are filling me in. Or not you, Anthony, maybe. All the old guys know who Usher's doing a halftime show. Older guys, sorry, I don't mean old. Thank you, Drew. Depends on Rock Nation puts on the bill. Who the hell's Rock Nation? I don't, I just assume see Up With People or Paul McCartney. Oh God! By the way, quite frankly, and I probably with my demographic, you would not be shocked. That's when I get up and spend some time in the bathroom. I could care less about the halftime show. In fact, I'm sure we probably have extended halftime shows today for the championship games, I'm guessing, right? I mean, that's what normally happens. I know they don't clear the whole field, I think, but we do have some kind of halftime entertainment if the past is repeated. Kneecap is back. 49ers don't look like they're firing on all. They didn't. They were rusty, but look at bottom line is they won the game. Now, today I got to lay I don't know. What do I have to lay? 7.5. Let me see if I got cigar box odds yet. So no, they were not firing on all cylinders last week for sure, and it took them some time to get things going. But I think I don't have a line yet, my line yet. That's the downside of the bye week, right? I mean, it's nearly 3 weeks since you played any football. I think it was 18 days or something like that. But once they got it, the weather was bad, and Green Bay's a pretty good football team. Listen, I'm taking nothing away from the Lions, and listen, the Lions have a puncher's chance of winning this game today. I just like the 49ers. I think they get it going. If Deebo Samuel hurts himself again and goes out early, but then all bets are off, because I'm pretty sure 49ers have not won a game that Deebo Samuel missed. Now, if he went out, they won last week. He went out during the game. But games he missed the entire games, they did not win a game. So that would change the whole outlook. The only time that Goff coughed the ball up a lot, Frank Regnell wasn't playing. Is that true? Let me look at Jared Goff's numbers this year. I know they're not bad, but I watched him throw. And was Frank Regnell playing on Thanksgiving Day when he threw like 4 interceptions? Let's just take a quick look. Let's look at his numbers this year, shall we? Jared Goff. Where's the football reference? How come I can't? There he is. You better have this year's numbers here. 69.8 completion percentage. Very good. Well, that's against the freaking. That's not the year. Hold on. That's 2023. 12-5, which is the important part. He's 12-5. That's the important part of the equation here. I get that. 67% completion percentage, 4,500 yards, 30 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, which today is kind of high, guys. Do I have fumbles in here? Yeah, they don't have fumbles. Let's see, do they put it in the let me see if they put it in the nope. Oh, 8. I'm sorry. 6 fumbles, too. That's 18 turnovers. Was Frank Ragnow out for 18 turnovers? That's a lot for your quarterback, Kneecap. Just saying. He played great against the Rams. He's had some really good games. Had some really tough games, too, though. If I look back at his game-by-game numbers, let's see where he threw these. Interceptions. 2 against Dallas. 2 against Chicago. 3 against. He threw 5 interceptions against Chicago. Good grief. 1. Listen, I mean, 30-12 is not terrible, but today the measuring stick's a little different. He's had a good year. He's played much better for Detroit than I thought he would when this trade was made. Let's put it that way. And I think Detroit's surprised too. Kneecap, you have to admit, and I'd love you to answer this question. When this trade was made, did you think you got the better of this deal? I think it's a trade that helped both teams. As far as I know, until this year, and maybe even this year, the Lions have been looking to replace Jared Goff. If there was a better option out there. Rick finds it hard to believe that any NFC North state is rooting for Detroit on that map. Well, that's why I wonder if that map is very, again, who puts these things out there? I don't know, Rick. Even when the Patriots were the most hated team in the country, do I think they were being rooted against by every single? No, I don't see my spot in New York with the little flying Elvis or whatever the hell ever they did it. I don't remember. So you're probably right. I don't think much of that. Back in the day, they showed cheerleaders a lot. Well, Taylor Swift isn't a cheerleader. She's a fan. Maybe she's sitting in the stands with the rest of us freezing our asses off. I might have a little more leniency towards showing her on camera. Oh, I don't know. A lot of defense from Taylor Swift. Kneecap, false, Kenny Gifford. Add her to the 70-second movie trailer shown 8 times a game, plus the fact that they say her name more than any player in the field. I wonder, she's gotten a ton of free advertising. Not that she needs it. I mean, and isn't Travis like jumping levels here? She's worth $1 billion. He's worth $40 million. $40 million is a pretty good number. I want to know who's buying dinner when they go out. So I say this to my wife all the time. I get in a little bit of trouble. She should be buying. Oh, geez. Sorry about that. I got all excited. Hope I didn't piss ball off there, Kenny. Plus the fact they say her name more than any other player in the field. I kind of agree with you, Kneecap. Kenny's going to come against us. John Gonzalez from the Sports Authorities. Welcome, guys. Check out the Sports Authorities. John has some great stuff, great nostalgia stuff, current stuff on this website. Got a lot of great contributors putting stuff up too. And we thank John for his support for this show. John Gonzalez is one of my again, I've made some really good friends through this medium. I talk about Dan Harris a lot. I consider John Gonzalez a really good friend that I've met through this medium, and I appreciate everything he's done for me. And thank you, John. He's rooting for Kansas City and Detroit today. I am betting Kansas City. I'm rooting, but I'm also betting Kansas City and San Francisco, unless something comes through crazy when I see the lines from the cigar box. It's Smoking Jeremy. What is that? What is that? Is that you, Jeremy? Oh, that's your name. So your first name's Smoking and your last name's Jeremy, or I know what you're saying. Just kidding with you, buddy. Good to have you with us today. I love to get some of you guys in here, and I love the way we're running this show on Sundays now. It's going awesome. I don't know why I spend, all this prep time. It's showtime as we irresponsibly take in more who loves soccer. Agreed. They must use anything possible to indoctrinate their children to play at least. You know what? That's a pretty good argument, CA. See, if Kenny used this argument, I might be more inclined to change my side here. If we're keeping people away from the round ball that they kick with their feet and can't touch with their hands, then I should probably be happy if we're indoctrinating those kids through Taylor Swift. I'm not sure if that's the case, but I like your train of thought at least. Dave Guyette, I heard Taylor Swift will get a championship ring if Kansas City wins the Super Bowl. It's not true. It can't be true. Unless Taylor gives it to her as his engagement ring, because he's too cheap to buy his own, and he's only worth $40 million. She's worth $1 billion. It's quite possible she should do the proposing and buying of engagement rings. I'm going to get myself in trouble. Oh, Ralph Reed kind of brought them together. Who's Ralph Reed? Oh, Reed. Ralph, Reed kind of brought them together. Andy Reid, I'm assuming you mean with an I. Us Perth graduates. Did he? Doesn't matter. Reed can't do anything about it anyway if he wanted to. I didn't know he brought them together. The way I heard it, he asked for tickets to a show and asked to meet her. I don't know if Andy Reid had something to do with it or not. I have no idea. They showed Joe Flacco taking a nap. He took a nap during the playoffs, didn't he? He was taking a nap on his couch for the entire first 3 quarters of the season. Put them in the utility closet. guess we're talking about the Hall of Famers, Hall of Shamers. All the memorabilia is there in display cases. They should be in as well. Again, yes, Pete Rose is all over the Hall of Fame if you've been there. Barry Bonds is all over the Hall of Fame. Roger Clemens is there. Again, you know, I think it's a shame. I think it's a real shame that the Baseball Hall of Fame is being diluted the way it is. Kneecap, I think it was Kneecap, said, all of the Hall of Fames are being diluted. But baseball, to me, has always been the one that stayed the truest to what it was supposed to be. It didn't have minimum numbers. It didn't have 10 guys going in a year like the Basketball Hall of Fame. Now, in fairness to the Basketball Hall of Fame, that's the NBA, that's college, women's, women's leagues, NBA, pro leagues, and college. So you'll have more people that are deserving year in and year out. What do you got here, Drew? Here's the irony of the Swift situation. How much time have we already spent discussing her this morning? Social media and cult of personality. I'm only following the conversation, Drew. And again, it's the irony of the situation. I totally agree that if social media does drive this, right? I mean, it's the same reason. It's the same reason we hate Joe Buck, Tony Romo. Because social media drives hatred of announcers in my mind. Most of us don't come to those opinions all on our own. We're driven to them by people who are agreeing with what we have to say. And that only multiplies the way we feel about that individual, right? I seriously have never had a problem with Joe Buck. Tony Romo's a different story because he's got diarrhea in the mouth and he has nothing to say. Tony Romo was really good when he first came in. And he just has nothing to say now in my mind. And him and Nance don't even seem to be on the same page. They don't seem to enjoy each other's company. But social media drives these opinions because, once we form any kind of, what I want to say, an embryo of an opinion, once we see it amplified on social media, we just run with it. Joe Buck, like the fact that everybody in sports thinks Joe Buck hates their team. Yankee fans think Joe Buck hates their team. Giant fans, Patriot fans, everybody thinks Joe Buck hates their team. Joe Buck can't hate every team. But I agree, social media, and again, this is like any other situation in life today. Social media amplifies it, right? 16.5. Oh, I didn't know if that's where you asked me to check it out. But we'll check it out. I mean, let me just Google. Let me just see what happens. Taylor Swift. I got to do this. Financial. Bear with me while I do this, True. Impact on NFL. Everybody knows that Taylor Swift has had massive impact on the NFL this year. And many might be wondering exactly how to measure it. Now, some of the results are in. Swift has generated equivalent brand value of equivalent brand value. This isn't real dollars. $331 million to the Chiefs and NFL. That's got to be over time. Seems Taylor Swift's effect is in full swing. When Swift made her first appearance at a Chiefs game, that led to 27 million views. The most for a Sunday night game since the last Super Bowl. Oh, my God. Izzy, I don't see the Reddit. Reddit doesn't even come up here. I'll have to check that out later. Swift and the NFL's budding business relationship. All right, so I'll concede that she has some financial impact. She has no impact on what we care about, and that's football. Baseball Hall of Fame should be called the Yankees Hall of Fame. There's more former Yankees players there than any other team. Well, yes, Dave, but we're not going to rename it the Yankee Hall of Fame. Yankees have their own Hall of Fame, and there are other people there. But I get your point. Yankees have had, when you have 27 world championships, that's what happens. John Gonzalez. There was only one real football team in Baltimore, and they played in Indianapolis, and they play in Indianapolis. Good point. And the Barry Levinson, the director of Diner, I'm sure would agree with you. If you haven't seen Diner, it was a movie made, I think, by Barry Levinson, I'm almost certain, in the 80s. And it's a great movie about people coming of age in Baltimore. There's a tremendous scene in there where this one guy's fiance is being given a quiz by her future father-in-law about the Colts. And if she doesn't pass, they're not getting married. So it's a very funny scene. John agrees with me. They're watering down the Hall of Fame. So many people don't. Oh, Shannon, good morning. Good to have you with us. She's laughing. I don't know why. Probably because she's a Swiftie. Shannon, I'm sorry if I don't mean to laugh at you. I'm laughing at Swifties in general. But Shannon's a sports fan, I think. So I wouldn't say she's, watching games because of Taylor Swift. She can comment on that for herself. Kneecap, Miguel Cabrera is he is definitely a first ballot Hall of Famer. Baines got his due to his popularity from being an analyst, not because he was awesome, right? I mean, got in due. I thought you said he got his due. I read that wrong. Because he doesn't belong there. Again, I'm taking nothing away. Harold Baines had a very nice career. Fred McGriff had a very nice career. Bill Mazeroski, you take defense into consideration. You have to do that with a Mazeroski and a Ozzie Smith, obviously. He also contributed championship teams. But, these are two guys I think of right off the top of my head. They weren't Hall of Famers. How did they become Hall of Famers after not getting voted in with 10 years on the ballot? 15 years, I think you had until a few years back. Gil Hodges, no disrespect to Gil Hodges. If you weren't a Hall of Famer when you were being voted on, and I know writers can hold grudges, but not 75% of them. Just saying. It's okay to be a great player and not make the Hall of Fame. It doesn't diminish. Your fans shouldn't feel diminished, or your career shouldn't seem diminished because you didn't get in a Hall of Fame, which is only the best of the best. Billy Martin won everywhere he was. It was one of the best managers of all time. Problem with Billy is it's all the stuff that came with Billy. Yes, he won everywhere he went, but he also was fired everywhere he went, and things went in the shitter everywhere he went. Different problems in different places. He couldn't get along with players in Minnesota and punched his best pitcher in the face at a barroom fight. Detroit was old and, things didn't go well there with the front office. Texas might have been his most impressive, to be honest with you. If you've never read, there's a book that covers Raising Hell in Texas or something like that. It's a book about those years in Texas with Billy and before Billy and just after Billy. I think his most impressive job might have been the Texas Rangers in 1974. That team lost like 105 games a year before, 100 plus. He had him in a pennant race the next year. And if you look at that roster, man, that ain't full of even almost Hall of Famers. Probably his most impressive job. Billy's close, but, again, if I'm going to say Jim Leland doesn't belong, I can't say Billy does. Had this debate on the Mac and Jack show with Dr. The good doctor, the Yankee expert. I think I held my own. Kneecap says, Dave Guyette, she or Travis is buying it, though. Yeah, it's about the championship ring. Yes. She'll probably have one. Travis might give her his. He's got one. He's got two. Third Super Bowl for this group, by the way, in play for the Chiefs. How do you not root for that? I always root for the underdogs. Kevin, I guess my questions are ridiculous. Have you asked several? Now, I apologize. Don't yell at me. They haven't come up in my feed. Kevin, I apologize. I've come up with everyone. I know Drew had this problem last week. So, Kevin, if you're still with me, I hope you didn't jump off. I'm not ignoring you, I promise you. So, do me a favor. Since I saw this one, put it up again. I don't know where you're coming from. You're on Facebook. Drew had a problem last week. I wasn't seeing all his comments. So, Kevin, please put your questions up. I have not skipped a one in the feed here, so I apologize. You may see it. I'm not seeing it. And there's some screwy thing going on with Facebook here the last few weeks where I'm not seeing all the comments, and I do apologize. I don't ignore anybody. Questions are ridiculous. I doubt your questions are ridiculous, but I put even ridiculous questions up. So please try again. I see this one. That's the only one I've seen, Kevin, since you said good morning. So I do apologize. I don't know what's going on, and I know Drew had the same problem last week. So he hurt the game. What are they doing now promoting gambling? I don't disagree, Kenny. You've heard me talk about this forever. They should not be doing that. NFL, Major League Baseball, the NBA, whoever it is, should not be in bed with gamblers. But again, you can't bet on your own team. You can't bet. I mean, you can't, regardless of what the league does, which is totally wrong. You've heard me say here since the day they got involved and got in bed with the gambling sites that it was bad for the sport and bad stuff was going to happen. And it has. Some people were suspended, probably rightfully so, and some weren't. You can't bet on your own team because again, logically, and Pete Rose's argument's always been, I never bet against the Reds. Well, when you didn't bet on them, you were technically betting against them because you didn't think they could win. Because every time you thought you were going to win, you bet on them. And that sends a message to the guys you're betting with. So, yes, he hurt the game. That doesn't, just because Major League Baseball is now as stupid as Pete Rose, doesn't absolve him from what he did. Major League Baseball and the NFL, no professional sports should be involved with gambling. It happens. I gamble. I don't think the leagues themselves ought to be promoting it. I'm not sure where that yes came from. Decap, and again, Kevin Myers, please try to put your comments back up. Put all your questions into one thing. Or do me a favor, send it to me in a messenger. I think we're friends. Send it to me on Messenger on Facebook. I'll look for it there. Because I will not ignore you, buddy. I don't ignore anybody. I think everybody knows that. Let me do something here just so. Who's this guy? Oh, Kevin Belrick sent me a message showing me a more realistic picture. I don't know if I can share this, though. It's pretty funny. I don't know if I can share this or not. Let me put this up here since we're talking about it. Anyway, everyone is entitled to their own opinion on everything, right or wrong. When you give a sports opinion, no matter how good or wrong, someone will think it stinks. Agreed. That's part of the thing. And Kevin, if you're still here, I do not ignore that. I mean, I did. It's funny. I guess probably keep my messenger up. Here's what we'll do from now on, guys. If you think I've ignored you, go to my personal page, Keith Engle, on Facebook, and send me a message in Messenger. I got one here from a Jeremy Ballreich showing me this real map. Let me see if I can get this map up real quick. I don't know if I can share my screen. Facebook. There it is. Here's a map. Are we on here? Bring this in. There's the real map. I can't blow it up anymore. Jeremy Bellreich sent this to me on Facebook through Facebook Messenger. If you're there, Jeremy, thank you. Not sure where you're watching, but here's a realistic map. He says, all this is San Francisco. All of this is the Lions. All this is Kansas City. All this is Baltimore. A little bit for Baltimore. And I don't know. What's that? That's got to be Hawaii or whatever. Let me look at Facebook. I can see it better. San Francisco. That's Alaska. it's San Francisco. So thank you for that, Jeremy. Carlos Carrasco comes back to the Guardians. Carlos Carrasco's, this was a kid I thought had a ton of talent, had a lot of health issues, had some arm issues and real life health issues as well. Suffered from, I want to say leukemia. I'm not positive. But he overcame those, and he's not the pitcher he had the potential to be, but he's still a serviceable major league pitcher. So we wish him well. Ben Johnson is going to Washington. Is that I think I've heard that's unofficial, that as soon as the Lions are eliminated, he'll get that job. I've also heard Slovic from the Texans mentioned there. Eric Bieniemy got a second interview, I believe. A lot of the Baltimore assistants are still in play there too. McDonald. But I think Ben Johnson's going to go to that Washington team as well. Anthony Price, as a Washington fan, I'll wait. I'll want Vrabel as head coach, but that's not going to happen. I think I like Vrabel, and I can't believe, I'd probably be more surprised at Vrabel not getting a job this year than I am Bill Belichick. Vrabel could be in play in Seattle. Look at, if Dan Quinn was the runaway guy there that people think in Seattle, I think he would have got the job already. I think the people in Seattle are smart enough to see that Dan Quinn is a good defensive coordinator. We saw against Green Bay. He's not a great one, apparently. Because you want to blame, Dak gets blamed for that loss, but I don't think Dak was playing defense when they gave up 40-plus points. And Dan Quinn is the head coach of some of the worst collapses in the history of football, including the Super Bowl against the Patriots. But not just then. Look at some of the regular season games they blew in Atlanta when he was the coach. 20-plus point leads. He's got to hold a record for blowing 20-plus point leads as head coach. He has to. I'm really feeling bad about Ken Myers not being able to get his comments in. So, again, Ken, I hope you'll send them to me maybe on Messenger. If you're still here, if you've left angry, I understand. But I assure you, I am not and would not ignore you. And I'll reach out to you afterwards if I don't hear from you. Anthony has, we already said that. Kneecap, opinions are the media person's equivalent of a butthole. Everyone has one, and usually they stink. Well, doing this show, I don't know whether I would consider myself a member of the media or not, but I have a lot of opinions. And I like to quote, what is my, what is that? Hold on one second. I love this quote from Billy Packer. And that's kind of what I go by, and now I've forgotten it by. Hold on. It's not there. All right. It's about opinions, and I might be paraphrasing a little bit, but this is my take on this, right? And it should be everybody's. I'm often wrong, but never in doubt, right? That's how I feel about my opinion. Often wrong, never in doubt. Just knocked out my screen again. My feet won't stay. James Andrews retires. Vandals steal Jackie Robinson's statue in Wichita. The Vandals this is disgusting in Wichita. this is what this country's come down to, is things like this, Drew. And I just don't understand what's going on in this world today sometimes. People probably argue that it's not racially motivated or whatnot. I don't know. James Andrews, I don't really have much to say about James. Do I have much to say about James Andrews? Let's see. Do I? I don't know. I'm trying to find it, Drew, because for whatever reason, I'm blanking out on James Andrews. If I could spell James Andrews, I would. I don't know why I'm blanking on James Andrews. Is it Dr. James Andrews? The only one I could think of. Yeah, Dr. James Andrews. That's got to be who you're talking about, right? Or is he dead? I don't even know. No. He calls it a career. There you go, Dr. James Andrews. I was right. All right. I couldn't think of anywhere else we were going. To me, that's a huge story, too. This guy kind of revolutionized surgery on Major League Baseball pitchers' arms. And it had a big impact. This guy probably belongs in a Baseball Hall of Fame before Harold Baines and Fred McGriff. Just saying. Kneecap biting. Hang on here, guys. I got to try to plug this back in. If I stop kicking things with my feet, I wouldn't lose my screens. There we go. Sorry. So anyway, listen, the Jackie Robinson statue in Wichita, there's just no excuse for this type of stuff. You know, we did a lot of things when we were kids that were fun and we probably shouldn't have done. I guarantee you that it wasn't motivated by anything like this likely was. Decap, we're starting to get the idea about you and Taylor Swift. We did get the Usher confirmation here a while ago. Dan Brown, another Perthite who we've not seen on this show, but I did find out earlier this week. Dan was watching the MLB update a lot, and I told him this was the best show. Swiftie fan watching your show, either am I. Swiftie fan watching your show, either am I. Are you? You're not watching the show or football because of Taylor Swift, though. So you did prove my point wrong if you're a Taylor Swift fan, that no Taylor Swift fans are there for the football. So, Dad Brown, another Perthite. Glad to have you with us. We certainly call out all our favorite Perthites here on this show. So it's great to have you with us this morning, Dan. And again, you know, I told you I'd probably piss off the Swifties. I piss off a few people, everybody, every day. Yes, Reba McEntire is doing the national anthem for the Super Bowl, and Post Malone. I didn't wait for my pop culture guys to confirm this, but my understanding is Post Malone will be singing America, God Bless America. Lift every voice. What? Who is that? What are we talking about? My God. NFL only covers expenses and production costs for the halftime show. Yes, that's what I was. Well, that's expensive, right? So, but the performers do not get paid, which is what I was talking about. Post Malone. There you go. There's confirmation. Post Malone. Couldn't tell you one thing Post Malone does, by the way. Maybe Dan does. Maybe Dan Brown does. I'm sure he's a very talented artist that I know nothing about. 7.5 for the Lions. That's what I'm waiting. Is yeah, our cigar box tends to go a little differently sometimes, but don't see anything yet. That's a number that I've seen most of the week, and I like the 49ers by 10 or so. So most of the money is on the Lions to cover, which I don't doubt. I often will go. I don't, you know, I'm a bit of a free spirit and independent thinker in that regards. I don't follow the norm. I would think most of the money's going on the Ravens today as well, by the way. Frank, this is the Bears game at home. Well, there we go. There's five interceptions right there. But still, I mean, 18 turnovers, you know, So I'll give you that. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt there. Again, I've said, Kneecap, that he's done much better than I would have expected. I watched him play in the Super Bowl and was less than impressed with what he can do in a big moment. And I don't think this team is better than that Rams team. Ross Stripling claims he is now throwing a death ball, a revised slider, spoken as a pitcher whose career is dying. Where is he pitching now, Drew? I don't even know where he is. Ross Stripling's been around a little bit. Now throwing a death ball, a revised slider. What does a revised slider do? Let me find out. This is too funny. I don't know why I find that so funny. What's a rev slider? Slider revolution. More. I can't find it. Probably if I look up Ross Stripling, but I can't put my poor search engine through Ross Stripling. That's pretty funny, true. It's going to be tough for the Lions to beat the Niners, as they have put a lot of pressure on Purdy. As they have to put a lot of pressure on Purdy. I agree. I mean, what the Lions do have paths to victory today. I mean, if Purdy comes up small, and quite frankly, right, I'm on Jared Goff, I should be on Purdy. Purdy, now he got hurt in the championship game, but Purdy has not won a big game really, theoretically, either. He did lead his team back from what looked like it was going to be a loss last week. But that's the wild divisional round. That's different than the NFC championship game. It's different than the Super Bowl. These are the games quarterbacks are judged on. You get pressure on Purdy, get him off his spot. I think you're going to be able to disrupt the 49er defense. So the offensive line of the 49ers is very important. And look, if all these weapons stay intact, I just don't think the Lions have enough defensively to keep them out of the end zone the way they did the Rams. And who did they play last week? Why is it escaping me who the hell they played last week? Good grief. Oh, Tampa. Listen, Tampa Bay moved the ball pretty good last week. Tampa Bay was in that game. That's, again, at home. So this team going on the road, outdoors. Again, I know the weather probably won't be good. Weather was bad last week in San Francisco, though. You don't know what you're going to get in Northern California. Still, the environment's different. And these are all the things that are coloring my attitude here. Man, guys, 10 o'clock already almost. We've really flown through this day. 6 of those, there you go. We were just talking about it. So, again, but I'm giving him the benefit of doubt. I still need to see him come up big. And I will say, I'm not Mike Francesa. You probably don't know. I mean, maybe you know Mike Francesa, as their show was, I think, simulcast for years. Mike and the Mad Dog show across the country. But Mike Francesa, I'm not a guy like that who will give out all kinds of opinions and then forget about what he said afterwards. I come back here and I admit when I'm wrong. As long as I'm proven wrong, I will admit it. And as Billy Packer said, I'm often wrong, but never in doubt. I thought the Lions got the better of the trade overall. Well, when you consider, the Rams did it to win a Super Bowl in the short term, the Rams also won. So I think overall, the long term, the Lions will likely make out better. But I do think because of what was at stake for both teams, I think it's one of those rare trades where both teams win. By the way, a couple of things we haven't talked about that I'd love to get into in this next half hour, and I'm going to continue with your comments here in a second. We talked a little bit about the Hall of Fame voting. We can go there. I do want to talk, if anybody has some interest, I know the NBA doesn't have a lot of interest for people, about the Bucks firing Their coach Adrian Griffin, with a 30-13 record, tied for the best record of a coach ever fired in the season, with the Cleveland firing David Blatt. But I find it interesting that the players, including Giannis, who wanted him, they endorsed him to be the head coach, got him fired. Now, I understand the defense was bad, but they got him fired. And even more ironically, ABC loses their lead analyst, Doc Rivers, to go back to he's going to be the Bucs' new head coach, as we know. But they fired Mark Jackson and Jeff Van Gundy because they would not pursue head coaching jobs in the NBA. So they moved on from, really, in my mind, the only reason to watch NBA games on ESPN and ABC was the announcing team. Most of the games were awful in my mind. I'm a Knicks fan, and I'll watch Knicks games, but the NBA has become a tough watch. And the only reason I would watch it was that threesome was one of the best announcing teams in sports. Mike Breen, Mark Jackson, and Jeff Van Gundy. So they fire two guys, and I find it very ironic, and good for you, ESPN, because I got nothing but contempt for you, and haven't for like about 20 years. That you fire two guys because you're afraid they'll take head coaching jobs at some point, and you lose the guy you hired when you fired them to a head coaching job about 10 games into your schedule. Good job. Harbaugh and Herbert. The circus is already in town. So Harbaugh and Herbert. Harbaugh brings his defensive coordinator from Michigan. The circus is already in town. But they'll win football games, Drew. I say this a lot, and I haven't said as much on this show as I do have since I started podcasting several years ago. Harbaugh's a very polarizing figure. One thing you can't say is that he doesn't succeed everywhere he goes. University of San Diego is a nowhere place in college football. He won. Stanford hadn't won in decades, hadn't won anything in decades, and he almost took them to the playoff. He goes to San Francisco, and he turns around what was a team that probably should have had a major rebuild in front of it, and goes to an NFC championship game with Alex Smith. Then he goes to a Super Bowl with a tricked-up offense and a quarterback who couldn't play anywhere else in the NFL, we found out, and almost beat his brother. Goes to Michigan, and while there was bumpy ride for a while, he beat Ohio State 3 times in a row, won the Big Ten for the first time in 19 years for Michigan, back-to-back now, by the way, and won a national championship, something they hadn't done in like 30 years almost. So we talk bad about Jim Harbaugh, but why? The circus is in town. Maybe the circus is in town, but it's a pretty successful circus. If I'm San Diego, I'm ecstatic that I got Jim Harbaugh. I'm sorry, San Diego. There's the biggest problem for the Chargers, by the way, is they don't have a home field. Play in LA where nobody gives a crap whether you're playing or not. Kneecap he said prior to the season to me that week 1 Thursday night football was a preview of the Super Bowl. Which was that? What was that? Detroit? What was that Thursday night game? I don't even remember. Let me look back. NFL schedule. I don't want this. 2023. I want to go to week 1. How do I get to week 1? Let's look at week 1. I want to send Ken Myers a note. I really would like to do that right now. If anybody's friends with Ken Myers, please send him a note. Oh, Bills and Jets. Wasn't that the final? Wasn't that the? That was a Monday night game. Oh my God. Lions and Chiefs. How do we forget? Lions and Chiefs. And the Lions won that game. Interesting. Is that where you're standing now? Lions and well, I know you're picking the Lions. I haven't heard you make a pick. I'm going to assume you're picking the Chiefs still to win this game. Kneecap. I have all the info for different outlets, Reddit, newspapers, and others. I haven't seen anything that gives me a solid, these, whatever. It's future, buy it. I'm done talking about Taylor Swift today. I've been on your podcast. Have I? Well, how do I not remember? This is what happens. You get to be 64 years old, you forget things. I really apologize, Jeremy. Have me on again. Let's talk Lions. Ezos, yes, I mentioned that at the top. Drew, I did mention as one of the topics today. It looks like Kellen Moore will be, not surprising that, Harbaugh is going to want his own staff in there. Not surprising, Kellen Moore will probably be a good fit with the Eagles. Kellen Moore is a good offensive coordinator. I don't believe the Cowboys' problems before he was with the Chargers were a reflection of Kellen Moore and his skill set. I don't think the Chargers' problems were a Kellen Moore problem. I think they're more a head coach problem. And again, in Dallas, the problems aren't even as deep as what you think. I mean, the guy's won 12 games a year since he's been there. How many coaches have won 12 games a year for the last 3 years? Kenny Keith, with the talent out there, they have they have to let the Rams in the Hall of Fame. They also, with the talent out there, they have to let the Rams in the Hall of Fame. I think that Rams is supposed to be something else, Kenny, but I don't know what. We got another map. Maps are big today. Oh, Rick, that's bad. Oh, that's you, Jeremy. Oh, Jeremy Bellreich. All right, that's you. Look at me go. Jesus Christ. I already put that up. Rick, that's pretty bad. I know that. Oh, gosh, Rick, that's funny. Social media is the cog running the show now. I'm the main interpreter for Kenny on this show. Social media is the cog running the show. It's true. It's true. I love the comments, and it's too bad I can't keep up a little more. I got to find. Hang on 1 second, guys. I got to see if. Let me try this. I got a bad feeling I'm not personal friends with Ken Myers. A lot of the guys that. No, I'm not. I feel really bad because I got no way to reach out to Ken and let him. Oh, wait. Kevin? Oh, maybe it was Kevin Myers. Was it Kevin Myers that was on? It was. Let me send Kevin a quick message here, guys. Shit. Don't send that. That'll look really bad. I'm going to get back to your comments in a second. I apologize. I don't want to make. I can't. I'll do it after. Trying to do too many things at once doesn't work. I feel so bad about this whole Kevin Myers thing. I've been saying Kevin Myers. I love the Kansas City Chiefs. Shannon loves the Chiefs. In general, I'm not a Chiefs fan, as you know. I'm a fan when my money's riding on them, which it will be today, Shannon. So, but I'm going to assume Shannon isn't just there for Taylor Swift. As Dan Brown, I'm sure, wasn't there just for Taylor Swift. The security offer is still open for those you ignore. I don't ignore anybody. Guys, I guess I'm gonna have to open every show with this now because I don't know what's going on with Facebook. It happened 2 weeks in a row. Drew had the same problem last week, and maybe some of you other guys have mentioned to me at different times. Comments are not coming through to me, so I don't know exactly what to say there. And sometimes depending on where you're coming from, it'll say for your comments to be shown, you got to click on something. So I don't know. CA, Swifty, 75% female, probably 50% Gen Z, lots of moms and near future mamas. Need we continue on why everyone involved is pushing this? Probably not. I'm trying not to. Dan Brown doesn't fit any of that demographic, by the way. Saying. You don't need to apologize, CA. You've seen that we have a little problem in this show sometimes. I cannot see the Lions getting to Purdy. I don't either, Kenny. This is why I like San Francisco today. This game comes down to me, and again, a lot of games do, but the quarterbacks, and the one that, how do I want to say this? The one that makes the least mistakes and plays to his highest potential will win this game. And that's not really going on a limb. I think Jared Goff may remember he's Jared Goff. I'm just saying. And he's had a good year. I don't really mean disrespect. Rick Sherlock talking about Van Gundy being dragged on the floor trying to break up the fight in Miami years ago. This is probably 1997 or 8 or 9. God, that's 25 years ago or more. That's hard to believe. Jeff Van Gundy holding on to Alonzo Mourning's leg. Alonzo Mourning, 7 foot tall and about 300 pounds. And little Jeff Van Gundy with his bald head holding on to his leg. Matt, good to have you with us. Let's go Chargers. So tell me, Matt, are you a big fan of Jim Harbaugh's hiring? You guys are doing a great job again today. I got a Ken Myers. So I could get Ken Myers. I think because we're talking about San Francisco, and Ken Myers used to be a coach there years ago. I'll send Kevin Myers a note. I feel Harbaugh left for Michigan for 2 reasons. Left Michigan for 2 reasons. One, he doesn't want to get Michigan sanctioned. I don't think it's going to matter. I don't think there'll be more sanctions. I don't think there have been more sanctions if he was there. And if they were, I don't think they'll be major. Because this is not a major infraction in the grand scheme of things. They didn't use this. Oh, never mind. I'm not getting into this whole debate. He gets a quarterback that's top 3 in the NFL. Herbert's got a little ways to go to be top 3. Let's see. Mahomes is still number 1 to me. Josh Allen's ahead of Herbert. Lamar Jackson's probably ahead of Herbert. But he's certainly top 5 or 6. The whole Michigan thing, I don't think, and by the way, great job hiring Sharon Moore as their head coach. Great hire and a smart hire because they would have had mass defections if he didn't get hired. And he's a good coach, regardless of Mac, from Mac and Jack thinking that he shouldn't be crying after games. Showing emotion is not a sign of weakness amongst NFL coaches. But, Matt, I'd love to know. And, again, as far as Harbaugh goes, what they were doing, and first of all, there's not 1 ounce of evidence that Harbaugh knew what this coach was doing. Not 1 ounce of evidence. The suspension he suffered at the end of the year was an institutional suspension that he was chosen to serve, because who else are you going to sanction? So it was on the program in general, not the head coach. Although he's in charge of the program. So, again, I get that. And, again, they're not doing anything everybody else isn't doing, trying to get advantage. Sports Illustrated had an article about Ohio State and Rutgers stealing Michigan signs and also supplying them to Purdue a couple of years ago for the Big Ten championship game. So, come on. Rotto's back. I'm a big fan of brotherly love of the Kelsey bros. Being a boy dad. Torn between the Chiefs and the Ravens. Youngest is a Mahomes fan, so I'm going with the Chiefs. Attaboy, Rotto. Where my money is. Mahomes is a great player. Nothing, this is turning into Brady and the Patriots 2.0. because they're so successful, people start to hate them. It's human nature, as Drew said before. We build them up to tear them down. That's what we do. 49ers all the way. We watch a lot of CMC workouts and highlights. What is that? What's CMC workouts, Rado? Good morning. Van Gundy was not afraid. That was very funny. It's still, and again, I'm glad Rick brought up that picture. At least brought it up, because I've still got that picture in my mind now that we think about it, of Alonzo Mourning dragging Jeff Van Gundy across the floor. And he was not afraid. He's a little guy. I don't know what Van Gundy is. He's probably about 5'8" or something. That was a great series. Those were some great series. Those Knicks teams were fun to watch. Pat Riley's, whatever you think of Pat Riley, faxing in his resignation, and Van Gundy taking over did a great job. Well, Van Gundy didn't take directly over. I think he didn't take over until after he fired Don Nelson. Also fired with a winning record, by the way. But they had some great battles with the Pacers and some great battles with the this is the Van Gundy Knicks. Great battles with the Pacers, some great battles with the Heat. They probably would have gone to the finals that year if not for the fight and the suspensions. What percentage do you put that he didn't know? 0, in my opinion. Not saying he sanctioned it. No, I don't. Listen, I'm not naive enough, as I said on the College Football Huddle many times, to think that Jim Harbaugh didn't know about it happening. I don't know that he sanctioned it. And even if he did, again, there's such a fine line here. And I don't, similar to the way I don't condone baseball players betting on their own team, or managers betting on their own team, or players using steroids. I don't condone cheating. But the same way we talk about the Patriots and what they have been accused of doing over the years, it's much ado about nothing. They will find something. If somebody wants you to go down, somebody will find something, because everybody's doing something to get an edge. Everybody. So even if he sanctioned it, which I do not think is true, because again, there's no evidence he knew, which is unlikely as Rick says, and I agree. There's certainly no evidence that he sanctioned it. So, I mean, people think he's getting out ahead of the posse. He was going to look at NFL jobs this year, regardless of what went on. He looked last year. He wanted to go to the NFL last year, and nobody wanted him. Christian McCaffrey. Okay. Christian McCaffrey, we talked about this morning on the big football show on Northeast Streaming Sports. The MVP's become a quarterback award. Lamar Jackson will get it. Christian McCaffrey probably should be considered. That guy, and Deebo Samuel should be considered, because that offense goes as Deebo Samuel goes. They don't win when Deebo Samuel's out of the lineup. Christian McCaffrey gets a lot of tough yards. And one of the reasons San Francisco wins is because, and we talk about this a lot, it's a passing game today, right? We know that. But you still need to run the ball. At the end of games, when you're ahead, you need to be able to run the ball and milk the clock. And McCaffrey's a big, big cog in that offense. Love him. There's Drew. Your Bills-Cowboys pick in our playoff bracket doomed you. You know what's funny is I bet the Bills. I bet against the Bills last week. I bet Kansas City. So I've one more play. I'm going to be up a grand for the year probably in the well, it depends on the next 2 weeks, obviously. I don't even know what we can bet this week. The bets might go up. But I should be up between $700 and $1,000, $1,200 even, depending on if he raises the minimums, in the cigar box this year on professional football, which, again, why I did so badly in Drew's pick on this. And, again, point spreads are involved, so it's a little different. And I'm not betting every game because for the most of the year I would pick – because there's a max you can bet. And I was betting $50 a game. Now, 3 college games, 3 pro games for much of the year, and then obviously when college is done, I got to go to all pros, but you get up $1,000, $50 a game. I didn't do too bad. And then I end up betting against myself in this pool because I did bet Kansas City last week against the Bills. Cowboys killed me week 1. I did bet them, though. Big mistake. Now, Herbert is has a real coach. I got to do this translation. He will explode next season. He might. Listen, he's had a good career already. And he very well may move up to that top 3. He could move to number 1. Just the main thing holding this San Diego team's had talent for the last 3-4 years. And to me, the coaching staff will tell them, the head coach with some major game management issues hurt this team. Hello, Michael Carrico. Hope I'm saying your name right. Good to have you with us today. Don't know if you've been with us before, but welcome. And if you are, please like and follow the show. Share it with your friends. Yeah, Samuels. You know what, though? I mean, sometimes when you're injured, it shows how valuable you are. So, again, while he won't win any awards, I would consider him one of the most valuable players in the league. Because you see what that team does without him, which is lose games, which is ultimately what guys should be judged on, not numbers. I mean, there's awards for that. You have offensive player of the year, defensive player of the year, where to me, you can just look at the numbers and whatnot. But MVP should be more about who's got the best numbers. It should be about who's the most valuable player to their team. So if I'm going to use that criteria, Samuel is in my top, I don't know, 6, whatever. Just talking off the top of my head. Josh Allen moves up my list. Josh Allen's an MVP. Without Josh Allen, and Josh Allen gets blamed in Buffalo the same way that Dak gets blamed in Dallas. But the Bills aren't losing these playoff games because of Josh Allen. They're losing for a lot of reasons. Special teams, defense. You got a lead in Kansas City 3 years ago with 13 seconds left. How do you lose? Or were they tied? I don't remember. But, he's never going to get voted MVP, Michael. And again, I appreciate you joining the show and hope you do more often. Rick Banana Blueberry Mall. It's a little late. Kenny's getting us his breakfast menu this morning. You didn't just come out, did they? At 10:30? We got about 12 minutes left, guys. So if there's anything we haven't talked about, you want to... Glad you speak. It's a Perth thing, Drew. Although you do a pretty good job translating for me sometimes, Drew, so thank you. See, Keith talking about the women has brought you a whole lot of new viewers. Yeah, but I'm getting myself in trouble. Every time you bring up women, I end up on the other side of the argument, and it sounds like I hate women. It's not true. Oh, God. I still feel bad about Kevin Myers. He must be pissed at me, man, because he left. I don't know what's going on. I got to figure. I can't figure this thing out with Facebook. But Mike's a Bear fan. Mike's a Bear fan and grateful to be a part of the Northeast Streaming Sports. All right. Oh, Michael's part of. I didn't know that. See, there's so many Northeast Streaming Sports, and Let's Talk Sports too. Has really been expanded. I think I saw that Max said on the site, and if it's accurate, or the page, I don't know if it's true or not. 61 independent shows posting now, or sharing content, however you want to say it, to Northeast Streaming Sports. That's tremendous, tremendous. And Michael, I'm glad to have you here. I'd love to. Maybe we'll get you on at some point to talk about the NFC North. And as a Bears fan, I'm sure Rick Sherlock would appreciate that. He's our resident Vikings fan. So we only got a few minutes left here, Michael, but let me ask you this. So you got the number 1 pick. I'd love to come on and talk about this with you at some point. We'll have you on my show or whatever. You're a Bears fan. You got the number 1 pick. Do you trade Justin Fields? I keep Justin Fields and draft Marvin Harrison if I'm the Bears. The talk is they'll either make the pick or trade the pick. So if I'm the Bears, I keep Justin Fields and draft Marvin Harrison because he needs weapons. But I think he's growing as a quarterback. And if they want to trade him, I hope they find a way to trade him to the Patriots. Because the Patriots need a quarterback. I'm willing to bring in a good coordinator / quarterback coach to work with Justin Fields and keep him moving forward. Because if I can get Justin Fields and I can get Marvin Harrison in New England, somehow, some way, my team just became a lot better. Bears are considering moving Fields and starting over with here comes my 6-year free brain again. Caleb Williams. I just don't know if that's the way to go. But I'd love to get your opinion, Mike. I'm home watching the games today, Rado. Too late. 3 o'clock's too late. I would like to go up to the Creekside, which is where we go now, Rado, but we're probably done for the year. And then I'm away the next few Sundays because I have to travel to Atlanta next Sunday because I have to be there first thing in the morning Monday, and then I'm on vacation the next 2 Sundays. No, I think I'll be back. We'll do the show next week, by the way. I'm not leaving until Sunday afternoon. But then we'll be off we'll do some stuff. I think maybe I'll miss only one Sunday. I think about it. We're on a 12-day cruise, but I can't remember. So anyway, Creekside, would love to have seen you there, Rado. We missed you this year, but we'll catch you when we're in Amsterdam at some point. But today, home, 3 o'clock starts. I don't get home. I got an hour, 45-minute ride home, 45 minutes. Much slower coming home, usually. But that's what we'll be doing today. I'll be in my recliner sleeping till then. I'd love to have you on, Michael. Looking forward to Mohawk season where the muffins are delivered to me by sea. To my seat. Another one. To my seat. Perfect, guys. Paula, I know where I stand. I'm not getting muffins anywhere. And we play golf. I want muffins. You keep Justin Fields. There you go. We got Michael's opinion. So you want Caleb Williams. You're starting over, though. Oh, no, you keep. I see. I thought that was me keep Justin Fields. Sorry. So I agree with you 100%. Michael's agreeing with me. You draft a quarterback, you set your team back. Agreed. Fields will be a Bear for at least 2 more years. I think he's growing. And doing better. And if you protect him better and you get some weapons, I think Justin Fields is going to be, he'll be the best quarterback in that class. He already is. So we kind of agree there. Calling Rick Sager for a PPI with the Cruise coming. For PPI. What is that? I don't know why I'm having trouble with acronyms today. Calling Rick Sager for PPI with the Cruise coming. What is that? Oh, personal protection. What is it? So I don't get sick. Listen, I got sick on an airplane this past week when I came back from Vegas. Somebody sneezing all over my head for 4 hours. Oh, yeah. Michael says he is improving. We got about 5 minutes left, guys. He is improving. Listen, DJ Moore is I think DJ Moore is the same guy the Jets let go, I believe, correct? Or am I wrong? I don't know why I'm thinking I'm wrong here. But he did have a great year this year. They need more weapons. So do you agree? Would you take, Michael? So we only got a few minutes left, but what do you do with the number 1 pick? Are you trading it? I'm taking Marvin Harrison. Marvin Harrison has a chance to be a generational player. He's the best player in the draft. Let's see. Was DJ Moore ever with Pro Football Reference. You gotta love it. Yeah, he's not the guy. He was with Carolina. My bad. Different Moore. Where the hell's the Moore? Where did he go? I thought he went to Chicago. Pretty funny considering I graduated from college with a summa cum degree. I think it says a lot about our educational system today, Kenny, but no, I'm kidding. Paul is going to hate me. Just kidding. You know, I'm just kidding. Oh, my God. I got 2 years at Hudson Valley. Community college. If traded, you don't go lower than the 3 pick, but you pick Harrison Jr. You got to make sure you're getting him. We're on the same page here, Michael. Look at that. I knew I liked you a lot. Elijah Moore, thank you. But to Cleveland. Elijah Moore, I thought was a great pick for the Jets. Had a good rookie year, and then his attitude went bad. The team fell out of love with him. It's really too bad what happened there. I'm out of comments. Look at that. You guys have done a great job again today. We can take a couple quick ones. A little bit of housekeeping. Next week, we're still going to be live Wednesday night, 7 o'clock with the College Sports Huddle. Talk a lot of college basketball and a little bit of college football, obviously, with still some coaching moves being made. Friday, we'll be live with Are You Serious and the Mad New Yorker. And should have the MLB update next Friday afternoon as well. And Sunday, we will be live with the Stream of Consciousness, even though I'm flying to Atlanta a few days after that. So the Wednesday, we will not do the Sports Huddle live, which I'll talk about that again next week. But we'll probably do it on Saturday morning live, where we usually replay it on Roku. We'll do it on all the platforms live. And then from there, we're up in the air for a couple of weeks because I'll be traveling for vacation and not work for a change. Kenny's watching birds and waiting for the snow. Kenny, how much snow are you getting up there, by the way? I don't think you answered me, and maybe it got lost like Kevin Myers stuff. I feel so bad. It's important to me that you guys know I don't ignore anybody's comments. And once in a while, I'll skip over something if it looks like they're just commenting back to somebody else. I might skip it over. Even those I usually put up. So I feel really bad. I'm gonna message Kevin right after the show and let him know I did not ignore any of his comments unless I missed them. But I'm looking back here and I don't see him. If any of you guys know Kevin, apologize for me. So great stuff, guys. San Francisco minus 7.5. Let's see if I got a line yet. Nothing. Shannon's going to make us wait. Kenny's best friend, Shannon Noonan. Got a Billy Slocum update today, by the way. I talked about our friend Bill Slocum, who's often at the Creekside. He's went to Perth for a while before he transferred. I was going to say something different. To Bishop Scully. I told you about it. He got hit by a car out in front of Creekside. Gosh, I want to say back in November. No, December. I want to say December 13th, something like that. Maybe the first week of December. But he's been in the hospital in Albany Med. He's been transferred to Sunnyview. Then he went back in the hospital with pneumonia. But he's doing better. He's got very serious. Oh, he's still at Ellis because of pneumonia. But he's been doing a lot of rehab, getting better. He's shaving himself, shaved his face and his head today. I just got an update from Todd. They're increasing the food that they're giving him. He's still got a lot of physical therapy and probably other to go. He's not speaking necessarily, but he is, recognizing people and stuff like that. So we wish Billy the best. Drew showing his football knowledge, may take the guru title from Carlos. That's not much of a compliment. It's starting to snow now. Just saw a Swifty fly by. When I see you comment on others' comments that are in the same window, I know you're not seeing mine from the same feed, from my feed. Then I go a different way to see you on Facebook. Usually the TJs. That's right. I got to find. I'll bet you Kevin is on my page And for some reason, people aren't seeing me from there. Although I got to believe Dan Brown might have been there today. So I'm not sure what happens. Well, listen, I could reach out to Facebook, but they won't tell me a goddamn thing because they suck. Sorry if my granddaughter's watching. Guys, thank you. Enjoy the game today. The 49ers are the pick. Keith Engle for TGI Sports Talk. Have a great Sunday. Enjoy the football. See you next week.